What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys a revamped little layout here. We are going into week 1 of NCL Season 8 Substrika, taking on Zippy and the Kent State Golden Flash Cannons. That his team there is not how I intended it to look, so I'll fix that for next week. But his team consists of, let me pull up my prep doc here. Tapu Lele, Volcanion, Registeel, Haxorus, Miltank, Rotom Frost, Mega Alakazam, Rhyperior, Skuntank, Trevenant, and Hawlucha. Priority users in the Haxorus with First Impression and the Skuntank with Sucker Punch, as well as Rotom with Sucker Punch if it really wanted to go that route. Hazard setting in the Registeel with Rocks, Miltank with Rocks, and Rhyperior with Rocks. Hazard removal with the Volcanion Defog, Rotom Defog, Skuntank Defog, and Hawlucha Defog. And 4 times weaknesses is just Rhyperior to Grass and Water. Which are covered by Registeel and Volcanion, respectively. However, Rhyperior is the only thing on this team that I see that I don't think comes against me pretty much ever. I don't really see a world where it's a good idea to bring Rhyperior against a Rotom-Wash, Nidoqueen, Scizor, Infernape, Abomasnow team. Even though I've got 2 electrics, one of the electrics beats the Rhyperior 1v1, so it would be very, very strange to me if it came. I essentially barely prepped for Rhyperior, although I do have coverage for it. I didn't like bring a check to like a setup Rhyperior because I don't think that it comes. Now, if we're in playoffs, maybe that changes because he wants to throw a curveball. I think because it's week 1, he's going to want to play it safe and sees that Rhyperior has a shit fucking matchup defensively, and doesn't bother bringing it. I think he's got better offensive tools to bring than the Rhyperior, so I don't think it comes offensively. And that's pretty much where I'm at with that. Everything else is terrifying, especially Mega Alakazam in terrain, especially Hawlucha in terrain, especially Lele in general. I'm less so scared of the Volcanion. I'm a little bit less scared of the Rotom Frost, but I know exactly what that thing can do, and it could demolish me. Trevenant, I'm a little bit iffy on, but it's a lot more likely than Rhyperior to me, especially given Zippy's playstyle. He could want to bring like a Trick Room Trevenant and just like pick things off. It definitely has the power to do that. It's got a pretty decent matchup against me just with Hornleech and Poltergeist. Yeah, a Skuntank I think is maybe a Dragapult check or Miltank. One of those 2 is coming as a Dragapult check, probably. If I had to pick the 6 that he's going to bring, I think it's going to be Lele, Registeel, Mega Alakazam, one of Miltank, Skuntank, or both, and then one of Volcanion, Haxorus, Trevenant, Hawlucha, Rotom. That's kind of how I would like tier his matchup against me. Lele is just an absolute terror. Mega Alakazam's a terror. I don't have the check. I don't have the defensive answers to his team. I was really happy with my draft, but it doesn't have the defensive answers to a team like this. It's just got way too much breaking power and just raw power. I really wanted to bring some stuff that I left on the bench this week that had various matchups against this team, and I had to leave them off because I went with a more offensive build than defensive build, and I felt that they were better on a more defensive build against this team. So I'm not going to bring them up because I might use them in playoffs or something like that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the new layout and stuff. My old PC got pretty much deaded. The hard drive malfunctioned somewhere, or the OS on the hard drive malfunctioned somewhere and essentially fried the entire hard drive. They told me, well, I brought it to a computer repair place and they told me that it was unrecoverable data. So yeah, I don't really have any intention of putting a hard drive in on a 6-year-old computer, so I just went out and bought a new one, and this one runs really smoothly. But because of that, I lost all my files, so I had to go digging around for the layout and things like that, and my OBS, like all the settings were reset. So I decided to go with a different strategy. I felt like the yellow sideways writing was maybe a little bit unprofessional, and I think the red stands out a little bit more so you guys can see it. And I'm also editing in the music on top of these now instead of just playing it in the background, which feels a little bit weird for me, at least just talking over nothing, but it probably sounds a little bit better, and I hope that the quality is maybe slightly better. This computer can handle recording a little bit more, so maybe it's recording in a better quality, I'm not sure. First up on my side, you've been staring at it this whole time, is Luxray. Why, you may ask? Why am I bringing the 30-point Mon against this team? Well, here's the thing. I wanted something to speed type Volcanion, and I wanted to check to Hawlucha. First of all, I thought that getting a Hawlucha check was the best plan here, and Luxray does that. So it's a decent enough Hawlucha check with Intimidate. I don't need like Guts or anything because I'm Scarfed. Rivalry is okay. Like I could have run Rivalry just to hit the Miltank harder, but besides that, it's not really that great. You know, when things have fixed genders, you can kind of run Rivalry to a decent amount, but I didn't really see it there. So the main idea behind this Luxray is just to hit stuff hard. Again, I don't think Rhyperior is coming, but I did bring Superpower in case it does show up. Superpower is also there just as a better way to hit like Registeel Miltank, and Crunch is there to hit the Mega Alakazam really hard, as well as the Trevenant, which would resist Wild Charge Volt Switch and is immune to Superpower. So main idea behind this is just to be able to pivot around with it and then bring it in on stuff later and sort of be able to get faster hits off. I doubt that he would expect Scarf Luxray if he's even seeing Luxray coming to this matchup, so that might be able to catch him off guard a little bit. We are speed tying Volcanion, so max speed to speed tie Volcanion, so if there is a Scarf Volcanion, I might be able to like win a speed tie later and wild charge it in the face or something. I'm not entirely sure if I will lead this or not. I think I probably would end up leading this if Rhyperior doesn't come, and then I would just like Volt out, depending on if the Registeel or Miltank are there, in which case I would then lead Persian, which is my Registeel answer in quotations, just because I've got Taunt and Knockoff. So I can stop like a Cursed Registeel from going absolutely ham. I am Boots rather than Lefties, so it's only going to work so many times if he's Body Pressed, which he should be. It doesn't really matter actually if he's Body Pressed or not against my team. I don't really have like a fighting weakness, and it's still gonna like Dragon Bolt's still gonna be immune either way. So I think actually he might be like Steel Move or something instead of Body Press. But Taunt is there to stop rocks from going up. U-turn for pivoting. Foul play just for big damage, especially on Haxorus. If the Haxorus wants to come in and like set up, then I'll easily live a hit and be able to foul play it and knock it out. And knock off just to get rid of items. I mean, getting rid of items is always helpful. I do have U-turn over Parting Shot. I've learned this lesson. I learned this lesson back in 2017 that Parting Shot doesn't work against a clear body Pokemon. And there's no reason for Registeel to be running Light Metal against my team, unless he's really scared of Low Kick and Fernape, which would be very strange. So it'll definitely be clear body. He probably doesn't even think about it and is just... Yeah, he's probably not even thinking about what ability he wants to run on Registeel, and it's just going with default one. So U-turn is actually going to be able to just like get me out on the Registeel and switch into like Infernape or Rotom or something, depending on what the set is. I'm running enough speed for Haxorus, and then HP and some physical defense investment. It's not completely optimized, but I did a bit of a job going through. This Furco works better when you have more physical defense investment, so it's essentially 325 HP and 402 defense, because Furco doubles your defense stat, which is it's a little bit better for kicking things here. Next up is Gardevoir, Mega Gardevoir. I'm bringing a really weird set. It's specially defensive to sort of handle Mega Alakazam or Tapu Lele and Volcanion to an extent. Oh, excuse me. Oh god. Ugh. Just because I'm putting music in doesn't mean I'm going to edit that out. Yeah, it's especially defensive Wish Protect set. Mystical Fire Hyper Voice should hit everything. Mystical Fire is there for the Registeel. It doesn't hit Volcanion. I could have run Hyper Voice Thunderbolt and it would have hit everything, but I wanted to hit the Registeel harder because I think it's a little bit harder to break than the Volcanion. Because I'm bringing 2 electric types anyways to this game. I'm sorry, I need some more water. I get really stuffed up in the mornings these days. I'm not sure what's causing it, but yeah, that's pretty much all there really is to say with the Mega Gardevoir. It functions as the best specially defensive wall that I have for Lele Zam. outside of Kecleon, but at least I can outspeed no speed Lele or something. And Kecleon doesn't. Kecleon gets pretty abused by Hawlucha, and Gardevoir won't get as abused by Hawlucha. So I like this set a lot. In Fernape, I'm bringing another Scarfer. So I do have 2 Scarfers. That's what Mega Alakazam forces you to do. Despite my speed tiers being what they are, they're pretty amazing. Mega Alakazam goes above them, so there's not really anything I can do about that. It's actually quite unfortunate because the rest of his team is actually like decently slow, and so I wouldn't want to have 2 Scarfers necessarily, but this will also force the Hawlucha to be running a lot of speed. I don't think the Hawlucha can afford to be adamant against me because of Scarf and Fernape. I don't believe that +2 adamant Hawlucha will outspeed that. I think he has to be Jolly to proc Unburden and still outspeed my team. It's a pretty... Oh, I'm not running a Fire move. I just realized that. Gunk Shot, I'm just going to change to Flare Blitz last second here, because there's no reason for me to run Gunk. I think so I've got U-Turn, Close Combat, Earthquake, Flare Blitz. Earthquake is there for like Volcanion in a weird situation, or just like dealing with Skuntank if I really have to. It's a move that I can click with no regard for anything. Maybe I go Gunk instead of Earthquake. It's a little bit of a safer move against Registeel as well, so that I'm not like lowering my stats, but it's not as consistent. I'm really considering Gunk over Earthquake now. I don't know. I might figure that out before the game. We'll sort of see, but I'm glad that I replaced Gunk. Gunk was literally only there for Lele. Just a way to kill Lele, but Flare Blitz should be able to do that from a decent range. Running enough speed for Haxorus as well, so I'll outspeed +1 Haxorus, which means Dragon Dance isn't going to be nearly as effective against my team. Max attack, a little bit of HP investment, pretty standard in Fernape there. I'm not like creeping any creeps or anything this week, except one. Which is next with Dragapult, but I'm not going like super duper fancy with it just because I want to sort of play a little bit more standard for this one. So Dragapult, Life Orb, shoutouts to TJ for helping me with this set. I've got Infiltrator here just because it's the best ability. I didn't see anything besides like Moonblast that would stat drop me from the opposing side there for Clear Body, I should say. So I just figured that Moonblast is going to kill me anyway, so there's really no sense in running Clear Body, and I should just run Infiltrator for any subs, or if he decides to bring like Screens, Lele or something, then I can bypass those as well. But Life Orb just kind of tears through this team. It's a really solid breaker for me, and it might help like in Fernape or Luxray to just clean up later. U-Turn, Shadow Ball, Draco Meteor, Fire Blast. We've got a lot of pivoting, right? Like 4 of the 5 Pokemon I've gone through already have some sort of momentum-based move. Granted, you don't really want to click U-Turn with using a Life Orb all that much because it's just kind of like wasted damage, but very specially biased with Shadow Ball, Draco Meteor, Fire Blast. Fire Blast should be able to rip through the Registeel decently well. Draco Meteor should be able to hit the Miltank and the Skuntank pretty okay as well, and then Shadow Ball is like pretty spammable once the Miltank and the Skuntank are like out of the way. I'm not outspeeding Mega Alakazam, but I will be outspeeding anything creeping Aerodactyl. I think the Mega Alakazam would be creeping Dragapult personally, so there's no way that I'd be able to deal with that. But if any like Scarfer is creeping Aerodactyl, then I'm outspeeding those, and I still have a little bit of bulk. I think I could have gone... No, I couldn't have gone Timid unless they were trying to creep like Adamant Aerodactyl, or if I was going down and they're and trying to creep things creeping Persian, but I don't think that's as likely as maybe Alakazam greeting a little bit. Maybe he wants to greet a little bit and run Zam below the Dragapult but above Aerodactyl, thinking that my Pult will be running less speed anyways. We'll see. I'm not going to count on it. I did consider Sucker Punch for the Mega Alakazam, but I decided that U-Turn was the... Well, TJ helped me decide that U-Turn was the better option over Sucker Punch in that slot. And last but not least is Rotom. I'm running an offensive Rotom. We'll see how this one goes. Select Rotom to get the speed boost, which means that I should be outspeeding Mega Alakazam once I get the speed boost. I'm speed tying his Rotom initially. Nasty Plot, Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, and Charge. Charge gives you a +1 Spidef boost if you're yeah, +1 speed F boost, and your next electric move, next turn gets 2 times power. So, like, Nasty Plot charge into Thunderbolt is going to be nasty. I think it's a Life Orb boost. It doesn't actually say. No, 2 times power. Yeah, 2 times power. So it's more than specs. So I'll be +2 and then 2 times power Thunderbolt. Essentially +4, I guess. Thunderbolt coming off, which is pretty insane. Like, that's just going to dent absolutely anything. Endure Slack doesn't really help me all that much because I need Nasty Plot here too. But Rotom-Wash's natural bulk should mean that I at least get off a Nasty Plot before proccing my Select Berry. I can kind of do this against a few things. My HP is not like optimized or anything to tank like specific Seismic Toss hits or something from Registeel to be able to proc my Select and then kill it later. So this gets a little bit dicey, but hopefully getting like a Nasty Plot up plus a Spit F boost from charge should be able to help me out a little bit. The only mon really that I can't break with this is going to be like Trevenant Haxorus. And honestly, I probably have better options for both of those. Like, Persian's going to be able to handle both of them a lot better than Rotom ever would regardless. So this is mostly a breaker, but it could be like a late game cleaning sort of set. In terms of what I'm not bringing, Nidoqueen, the main reason I'm not bringing Nidoqueen, it's pretty solid at just like breaking like Registeel here, which is good. There's actually a lot that does threaten it though. Rotom Frost, Megalakazam, Tapu Lele, Haxorus can set up on it pretty easily. Volcanion threatens it, and I don't know if I would want to invest enough speed investment for Volcanion. So Nidoqueen is really beating like Registeel, Skuntank, Rhyperior, and I think that like Infernape can beat those mons just as well and doesn't give Megalakazam sheer force. So yeah, it's not coming. Aerodactyl could have been okay. I just find that it has a really difficult time beating Registeel 1v1, which is something that I kind of needed a Pokemon to do in that slot. And I'm not running Rocks, which is kind of blah, because I would want hazards against this team, but it's not going to work out that way. I'm also not running Removal, so this is going to be a pretty fast game, guys. Kecleon is something I wanted to bring. It just didn't fit this week, so it's not coming. Scissor, same thing, I wanted to bring it, not coming. Abomasnow doesn't really have a matchup here, but it might in some worlds with like Life Orb Ice Shard or something against the Hawlucha, or like a Subseed set to just pick on the Registeel a little bit more. I'm also a little bit wary of this being like what ability this Miltank is going to be. It's either between Scrappy and Sapsipper realistically. So that's kind of where I'm thinking the Miltank is going to be at. So anyways, that's going to be this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the team builder, and I will catch you guys for the match.